Hello everyone, this is Tendo64, and welcome back to another episode of Doki Doki Fallen Angel. Where we last left off, we had just finished day 1, which is where, the MC had to write a poem for Yuri, and now we're at the very beginning of day 2, where he starts to read with Yuri, and you know, the fight with Yuri and Natsuki and stuff that's coming up. So, as you know, because that's in the script. So without further ado, I'm gonna start reading. Now, I am very bad at this, if you haven't noticed. Hi again, Tendo! Glad to see you didn't run away on us. Nah, don't worry. This might be a little out of my comfort zone, but I'm a man of my word. Well, I'm back at the literature club. I was the last to come in, so everyone else was already hanging out. Thanks for keeping your promise, Tendo. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you. Making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it. Oh, come on, like he deserves any slack. Sayori told me you didn't even want to join any clubs this year. You even said yourself, Sayori had practically dragged you here. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what. But if you don't take us seriously, then you won't see the end of it. Excuse me, Natsuki. But I was still talking before you interrupted. Hey, I'm looking out for us, so we don't need any dead weight in this club. Natsuki, you certainly have a big mouth for someone who keeps her manga collection in the club room. Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying Monica and manga. Manga is literature! Swiftly defeated, Natsuki turns around and marches toward the closet. Don't worry, guys. Tendo always gives it his best as long as he's having fun. He helps me with busy work without me even asking. Like cooking, cleaning my room. How dependable. Sayori, that's because your room is so messy it's distracting. And you almost burned your house down once. Is that so? You two really are good friends, aren't you? I might be a little jealous. How come? You and Tendo can become good friends too. Sayori. As usual, Sayori seems oblivious to the weird situation she just put me into. Oh, Yuri even brought you something today, you know. Wait, Sayori. Me? Not really. Don't be shy. It's really nothing. What is it? Never mind. Sayori made it sound like a big deal when it's really not. What do I do? I'm sorry, Yuri. I wasn't thinking. Guess that's my cue to rescue this situation. Hey, don't worry about it. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place. So any nice gesture from you is a pleasant surprise. It'll make me happy no matter what. Is that so? Yeah, I won't make it a big deal if you don't want it to be. Alright. Well, here. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked out a book I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention, even if you don't usually read. And we could, you know, discuss it, if you wanted. How is this girl accidentally being so cute? She even picked out a book she thinks I'll like, despite me not reading much. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book. Phew. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think. Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monica to kick off some scheduled activities for the club. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Sayori and Monica are having a cheery conversation in the corner. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki's rummaging around in the closet. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a little bit more, but at the same time, I would feel bad for distracting her from reading. I catch a glimpse of the cover of her book. It looks like the same book that she lent to me. More than that, she seems to be on the first few pages. Uh-oh. I think she noticed me staring at her. She sneaks another glance at me, and her eyes meet for a split second. but that only makes her hide her face deeper into her book. Sorry. I was just spacing out. I'm out of this, sensing I made her uncomfortable.
Oh, it's fine. If I was focused, then I probably wouldn't have noticed in the first place. But I'm just rereading a bit of this, so...
That's the book you gave me, right?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to reread some of it. Not for any particular reason.
Just curious, how come you have 2 copies of the same book?
Well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday... that's not what I meant. I mean... I just happened to buy 2 of them.
I see. I look at Yuri quizzically. There's something fairly obvious here she isn't telling me, but I decided to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon.
I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and relatable story.
Is that so? What's it about, anyway?
Well...
I'm sorry, there were some weird noises, so I don't know what that was. Yuri closes the book and scans her eyes over the back. The book is titled Infinite Isolation. The cover shows a shadowy figure sitting in what appears to be a jail cell. Through the bared window of the cell wall is a single cherry blossom.
Alright. I just wanted to make sure I don't accidentally give anything away. Basically, it's about a woman and her husband who are imprisoned in a human experimentation camp. They plan to escape the camp, but unfortunately their plans are discovered. As punishment, the wife is forced to watch them hang her husband from a tree and then spend the rest of her days in solitary confinement. The rest of the story is about her diving into total insanity after the traumatic events.
That's kind of dark, isn't it? Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so that dark turn came out of nowhere. I've read darker.
Hahaha.
Yuri gently giggles all of a sudden.
Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Tendo?
No, it's not that. I mean, I can definitely enjoy those kinds of stories, so don't worry.
I hope so.
Yeah, I totally forgot that Yuri's into those things. She's so shy and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different.
It's just that those kinds of stories, they challenge you to look at life from a strange new perspective. When horrible things happen not just because someone wants to be evil, but because they have their own goals or their own philosophy that they believe in. Then suddenly, when you thought you related to the protagonist, they're made out to be the naive one for letting their one-sided morals interfere with the villain's plans. I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry.
Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost any interest in it at all.
Well, I guess it's alright then. But I feel I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing fill my thoughts, I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. So I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange. And please stop me if I start talking too much.
I really don't think you need to worry. That just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club after all.
That's true.
Yuri seems to relax a bit now. In fact, I might as well get started reading it, right?
You don't have to.
What are you saying? Just a moment ago you said you were looking forward to it. Let me just grab the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I had put into my bag. Alright, it's fine if I sit here, right? I slip into the seat next to Yuri's.
Yeah.
Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive.
I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone.
I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything.
Alright.
I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not a particularly bad thing. Maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri's in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead.
Sorry. I was just...
Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you?
I do? I don't really mean to. Sorry. I mean...
Here, this should work, right? I slide my desk until it's up against Yuri's, then hold my book more between the two of them.
I suppose so.
Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It feels like my left arm is in the way, so I instead use my right hand to hold the book open. I guess that kind of makes it difficult to turn the page.
Here. Woo! First CG! Even though I've already seen the CG a million times because it was in the base game.
Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. I do the same with my right arm on the right side of the book. That way I turn a page and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But in holding it like this, we're huddled even closer together than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. It's as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face and she's in the corner of my vision.
Are you ready?
To
turn the page.
Sorry. I think I got a bit distracted for a second. I glance over at Yuri's face again and our eyes meet. I couldn't keep up with Yuri even in normal conditions. In our current position, I'm having an even harder time focusing.
That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me.
Yeah, thanks. I hope Yuri doesn't think I'm illiterate or something. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she finishes the page before me, so I turn it by my own volition. Is that how you pronounce that? If it's not, I'm sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing things. Everyone makes fun of me for it. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as she catches it under her own thumb. Hey, Yuri. This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit.
You think so? How does she?
Well, I guess she's more blunt in a lot of ways. But she also second-guesses a lot of the things that she says and does. Oh, all of the things she says and does. Like she's afraid she'll do something wrong. It's not like I can see into your head or anything. But they're kind of reminiscent of some of your mannerisms.
I see.
Yuri remains silent for a moment.
But Tendo, that's probably a terrible thing to have in common with her. Oh, that's so embarrassing that you think that.
Wait. Fantastic. 10 minutes and I've already managed to ruin my chances at love. Actually, it's been 13 minutes according to, the time that has passed with me recording this. I'm just kidding. I didn't mean it in a bad way or anything. Sorry, I really didn't know you were self-conscious about that sort of thing. I guess I more meant that I find it kind of cute.
What are you saying all of a sudden? Okay, everyone! I think it's about time we share today's poems with each other. We might not have enough time if we wait too long.
Yuri exhales, spared from finishing her thought.
Is that alright, Yuri? You look kind of down. I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this. It's not. It's fine.
Yuri releases her hand from the book, causing it to close on top of my thumb. Alright. I guess I'll do some more reading tonight. Or would you prefer I only read it with you?
I guess I don't have too much of a preference either way.
In that case, I'll read a little more tonight. It'll be more fun to read with you after it picks up a bit, you know?
That's good reasoning. In that case, feel free to finish the first 2 chapters in your own time.
Alright. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book and then slip it back into my bag.
By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night?
Yeah. My stomach ties itself in a knot. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I really couldn't find much inspiration since I've never really done this before. Writing a poem, just like having to write a poem, I remember from experience was hard, because like I remember in a few classes, like, you gotta write your own poem, and I'm like, please don't make me do that. I have trouble writing like anything that like I haven't already had an idea. And like just like having to write like anything, like, and just being like having to do it for an assignment is just like the worst for me. Writing poetry is also really hard.
Well, now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait!
Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. By the way, I know my voices are all like really similar. I don't know if that's gonna change over time, but like I've never really like had any sort of idea of what I should make the characters sound like before I started doing this, so I'm sorry if my voices sound like really similar to each other. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf paper. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. I always remembered like the word paper put in there for some reason. I don't know why. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a composition notebook. I can already see Monica's pristine handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Whom should I share my poem with first? Let's see, we have Yuri, and Yuri. Okay, you know what? I don't know about you, but I think Yuri's an interesting person to share with first, so let's do that. Yuri is probably the most experienced, so I can trust she'll give honest feedback. Also, she's the girl I'm trying to impress anyways, so it only makes sense to talk to her first. I walk up to Yuri and hand her my poem. Oh, by the way, it's not in this mod yet, because it was not composed yet, but there's actually going to be an original track for MC for his poems. And I thought that was kind of cool. I've never actually seen any other mods do that. But yeah, this one has it. And, I composed that track. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Silence of the night. I lay, eyes closing, drifting out of consciousness. Thoughts fester and plague my mind. My imagination plays tricks on me as the deafening silence pounds my eardrums. But the fragile silence is broken by the sound of a voice, the sweet, sweet voice of a woman bidding me goodnight. I breathe in and out as my eyes close again. I lay in the cage of blankets. I feel as if I'm in a dream. I can feel the aura of another person next to me. I'm captivated by the voice at my door bidding me goodnight until I realize I live alone. My heartbeat is unstable as my eyes explode open. The deafening silence returns, and my eyes slowly drift out of consciousness again.
Oh no, it's not going. Phenomenal.
What was that?
Tendo, this poem is fascinating. The dark tone and the eerie ambience you've created is very unsettling. Not in a bad way, though. Did I raise my voice? I'm sorry.
Damn it, I was actually getting somewhere. Alright, Tendo, fix this. Hey, it's alright, I didn't even notice. Please continue, you seem really interested in my poem.
Yes, like I was saying. It's a very dark and chilling piece that really evokes emotion. Question for you, Tendo. How much experience do you have with writing? Your use of metaphors and the way you pull the reader into your piece is fascinating.
Really? Thanks, Yuri. That means a lot coming from you. To be honest, this was actually my first time writing poetry.
How do you write a poem that good first time? My first poem sucked. I knew that. I could tell by...
Yuri traces her finger along my poem, dissecting it down further.
Yes, here's how I was able to tell. A common mistake I see in new writers is that they try to make their writing too deliberate. They usually try to focus on one or two different topics or styles and try to form fit the two together. The end result is both the writing and the meaning of the piece are weakened. Once Yuri gets her thoughts together, she appears to be a whole different person. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for.
That's good advice, Yuri. I'll definitely consider that next time.
I'm sure you'll improve nicely. Metaphors can go a long way in writing. I have an example of that, if you would like to read it.
Of course. Yuri smiles as if this is a rare opportunity for her. I think that in itself is funny. I mean, isn't this a literature club after all? Yuri hands me her poem. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I am very, very bad at reading cursive, and I've always struggled with reading Yuri's poems, so if I'm really slow, or if I stumble over my words while I'm reading this, I apologize. Ghost under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow. Bathing. It must be this one. The last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time. The last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe, calm, breathing air of the present. Breathing air of the present, but living in the past. The light flickers. I flicker back. I'm sorry, I have such terrible handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. But it took you so long time to read. That's because I can't read cursive. I probably shouldn't tell Yuri I don't know how to read cursive. Hey man, it's okay. Again, I don't know how to read cursive either. Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting is very pretty. Pretty, but hard to read. That's a relief. Also, I liked the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive. It wasn't too short? I usually write longer poems. Not at all. Size shouldn't matter, right? Right? Suddenly, I don't think we're talking about poetry anymore. I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghosts, Yuri? I always thought that funny. Like, how is MC that dense? To like, I mean, again, I am no expert on poetry whatsoever. But like, even I know that the ghost is like very clearly a metaphor, even though I wouldn't know what metaphor it would be for until like Yuri says something. But, I mean, I know it's not literally a ghost. Dang it, MC. Actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Tendo. Really? I must have totally missed the point. You sure did, MC. You sure did. Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn, putting it that way. I haven't even thought of that. That's really impressive. Huh? It's nothing, really. Yours was impressive, too, so... Nah. If anything, I could probably learn a two thing from you. A two-er thing? Did I just say a two-er thing? A thing or two? You think so? Yeah, of course. You know, I was really nervous about doing all this, but in the end I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing my best for you, Tendo. Me too. Well, it makes me happy that you think that. Just remember that it won't be long before you pick up on these things too. Yeah, maybe you're right. I guess I'll have to keep trying. I'm counting on you. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop it there, because this is going on to almost 25 minutes, and again, I don't want to eat up my hard drive space. So, I guess see you guys next episode. Again, I really don't know how to end these kinds of videos, so